Zlurpcast!
Before we get to this is our, I call it a Thanksgiving episode of Zlurpcast TV. We have Xtreme Wave. We have Valdric Wave. We have Biran Wave. And I'm Jonny P. Sometimes we do it all at once. And people are like, I love these guys, but who are they really? So it's a holiday. We're going to take it down a notch, and introduce ourselves. Also, I'd like to go around and say what we're thankful for. Because to many people, Thanksgiving's different this year. I'm still going to do fucking Domino's pizza, but other people are doing other things. So whatever. I'd like to see people say, each one of us, what they're thankful of. And I'll go first to give you guys time to think. I'm thankful for Xtreme for creating the idea of a Zlurpee, which he blatantly took from 7-Eleven's trademark Slurpee. He took it, but he made it his own. He changed 10% of it, the first letter, which is all you need to do, I guess. And he made a brand which continued for Blood Bowl tournaments and this show. So I'm thankful of that. I'm thankful of Valdric, Mike, for always willing to play any game, anytime, any person, anywhere, clothed, not clothed, drunk, high, whatever his history of games have been, he'll play. Like he's always, as the kids say, DTF. We'll say DTP. Always, always, always. Biran, I'd like to thank for helping us restart this animal that is Zlurpcast. Without him asking and, dare I say, poking the bears, we wouldn't have done it. So without him, we wouldn't have this. He's got a big head, doesn't fit a hat. That's also a Beastie Boys lyric, I believe. He definitely satisfies all of those. Who's next?
I'll go. Mine's quick.
Okay.
I'm thankful I'm not Canadian.
Okay. I bet you Canadians are thankful you're not one of them either.
Probably. I've updated. I've been actually working on my country ranking from first to last. So I got the United States, number 1. Number 2 is Mexico.
Okay.
Number 3 is Australia. Because it's just Florida, but bigger.
And what's 4?
I haven't gotten that far yet.
Oh, and what's last?
Canada.
Oh, shit. Okay. Okay, well, the only place to go is up.
Mm-hmm.
Valdric, Xtreme, any thanks?
Set the bar really high. So I'm thankful for good health. I'm thankful I still have a job, and that I still have you guys and other friends as well. So, and I'm thankful I'm not seeing any of them in person on Thanksgiving. So,
last episode we found out you have other gaming groups like the Multiverse, which we're going to talk about. There's alternate mics out there that are like Mike in those worlds. I had no idea there was we got one piece of them. We got one. I didn't know.
We got the 616 world, Mike.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. We're the 616, but the three of us are the same. But Mike, we don't know his stature in all these other worlds. If he's running game groups, is he the flunky that they fuck with? Is he like the main dude? We don't. Is he guy in the middle? We don't know. Is he the prick? Is he the Biran? I don't know. What if What if Valdric really spelled Biran? We don't know. Xtreme, any thanks?
Sure. I did a lot of homework for this episode. I wasn't expecting this assignment too.
I just thought about when it was going to air, and I figured we should address to show that this is timely.
Sure. I'm thankful for my beautiful new home that I just moved into. And I'm thankful to have you guys talk to once a week and escape from everything that's going on in the real world.
What's going on in the real world?
Canadians are invading.
Oh, God. That'll be a quick war.
But yeah, so I'm thankful for all of you and the time that we spend together to get away from all the other stuff.
Agreed with all the above. This little gem, Xtreme said, hey, I just bought this from Hot Topic. This is when we were doing our Blood Bowl tournament run. I went and got one too. Mike, did you get one? Did you follow suit with us and get one or no?
No, when I went there, they're all gone.
But you tried though.
Yeah. I do have a Galactus bottle opener that I should have brought. That thing is awesome.
Yeah, I like that.
So is that like your watch that you share with Josh Aldis X-Wing Snow?
You mean the wallet?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess. I just thought.
Did he get it to copy off you, like you did that to copy off Xtreme?
I would say in general, Xtreme's the beginning of most of the centipedes.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, here's what sucks. You know, as a realist inside the human centipede, it don't matter if you're 2 or 22 or 222. It ain't 1. Like, if I'm 2, it doesn't matter that Josh is 3.
You're either first or you're last.
Yeah.
It's like.
So that's kind of what happened with this. He got it first, and I was like, oh, shit. Because I don't frequent Hot Topic. Maybe Xtreme does. Maybe someone tipped him off. I don't know. I don't judge.
Was it the good Spencer that tipped you off?
I think I was just walking around and saw it randomly one time.
This might have been pre-Spencer, honestly.
Were you getting your ICP gear?
No, I was not.
No, because he already has it.
This was pre-Funko Pops too, so they had like a whole wall of different things.
I saw this.
Did you have a chain wallet? Did you get your chain wallet there?
I never had a chain wallet.
Oh.
You could hook it up to your balls if you got something to hook it with.
Or your Jinko pants.
So real quick, reminded me, I saw a post on a 40K group. This guy showed, here's my new room, I'm modeling, and everyone's comment was the Amazing Jekyll Brothers, an ICP album picture in the wall, like the corner. I know he didn't want to get into it, but it was in the picture, and that's what we talked about.
That was me today. I had on my face mask because I'm a good boy, and we were at Jersey Mike's, and of course they struck up a conversation of Rage Against the Machine, and I had to once again explain, like, I don't like Rage Against the Machine. It was the only mask I could get back in March.
Okay, there you go. Well, there's no other segue to that. We're going to talk about what we set out to talk about, and that is the 23, I think, 23 movie.
Yep.
MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yep, 1 second. You go.
We're not going to wait. We're going to keep talking, but if you want to take a fucking quick shit, feel free. You know, we're going to talk about the ones we like, the ones we don't like, things throughout it. I like to think that we know things don't always mirror the comics. And I don't think this needs to be that kind of episode because it can easily get off track in a hurry. And I don't know about you guys, but in doing research and rewatching some of the movies, like a lot of things blended together from various comics I've read. And so that was a big part of it too. So focusing on the MCU, that's what it is. That's what people know. There are times you're watching the movies and you're comparing what you're and that's fine. But to a lot of people, this is all they know. Biran, you hinted a couple episodes ago about how, you know, the talk of Iron Man in a movie, and that was like the dividing line. It was either that's awesome with one group and who in another group. And that's okay. I'm not going to say anyone's doing it wrong. Everyone can geek out however they want to geek out about stuff, but that's kind of kickstarted things off from there. I think, Biran, you compiled the list.
Yes.
I printed out just a couple brief, like 3 website. Of course, as with all websites now, is it possible to print stuff without a fucking ad over the actual? I got a Geico guy's ad over stuff, but and I have my list, and Biran has the list compiled. How do you guys want to start? Biran, do you want to go through the list, compiled list? Do you want to go through the movies and then say where they fell?
I want to go start at the worst and work our way to the best, and then if any movie naturally comes up, like you want to talk about some aspect of the movie or something you like, something you dislike, so you're surprised where it ended up fitting in, because of course Mike's list was completely different from everyone else's.
Okay, well, let's do this then, if you're cool with it, Biran. You'll say the movie, because you're going to go from worst cumulative to most. Do you have the 4 ratings next to it? You can easily say as well. Okay, so you'll say the movie, lowest to best, and each of the ratings. If you want, I can reference. I mean, we all we know it, but I mean, I'm happy to reference if needed, if anyone needs a reminder to jog some memories, since we're all getting old. I also want to preface this by saying you guys can say whatever you want at this point, but I liked them all. I like that. I'm a fanboy of a lot of things, and I'm fine with that. So there is no I hate this movie with this list.
None of them are worthy of hate, for sure. Some I didn't care for, but I didn't hate.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like it's all levels of good for me. So
like pizza.
Even if the word, what's that?
It's like pizza.
It is kind of like pizza. Yeah, I would agree with that. So there's something I was like, all right.
I will say that even when you got down to the bottom of my list, everything was good except for like the bottom two.
Okay. Well, we're going to talk about that. So Biran, you want to kick it off with the cumulative worst MCU?
The cumulative worst, and it wasn't even close. It didn't change its ranking after I voted and Brian and Xtreme voted, and then JP voted, and then it never lost its spot as the worst ranked movie. And that would be Thor 2, The Dark World.
Yeah. That was kind of expected.
Yeah.
You know, I don't give a shit what people say online. It just doesn't bother me. So that was, in fact, I think even in this synopsis I had, it even says widely known as the worst. And I think I ranked it second worst anyway.
It had its moments, but.
Dark Elves debut in this one. So for the Blood Bowl tie-in, Xtreme, I don't know if Blood Bowl counts as an MCU movie, but that's the tie-in for you on this one. And Thor and Loki team up to stop the Dark Elves. Mother dies in the process. And some other noteworthy things.
Renee Russo, right? That's the mother?
Yeah. She's the mom. We have the Ether, which then has the Reality Stone.
Yep. Do you get the feeling they shoehorned that in and retconned it? Oh, yeah, the Ether is the stone. Yeah, that's it.
So throughout this series of 23 movies, well, most of the 23 movies, somehow, say 2/3 of them somehow impacted the stones. They were keeping the theme of keeping them separate, keeping them hidden. So they're part of things like, I remember, reading things about the Cosmic Cube, not a Tesseract. That was in the movie thing. So a lot of things were shoehorned to fit that story. In this case, that was part of that. So notable events they list in this movie are, we see the collector who plans to collect all the stones. So there is that moment for people trying to tie things together. There is that aspect of it. We have I guess in this movie they also say, I didn't remember this was being defined there, but then they say the Tesseract is an Infinity Stone. I guess they never addressed it before. So yeah, as far as redeeming features of it, I mean, everyone likes Thor,
and Loki.
Everyone likes, and Loki's
great.
But
that was the last movie where after that movie they realized, Thor's kind of funny.
Yeah,
that was the last serious Thor.
There was no jokes in there, really.
Yeah.
There was not the typical, style that we've come to expect from the MCU movies.
Like that's not a Thor you picture getting fat and playing PlayStation all day. Yeah, I would say the Thor Loki team up is the most redeeming quality.
Yeah, and so also in this one, was this also? No, that was Thor Ragnarok. But you guys did you rank it last? Everybody?
No.
Xtreme and I ranked it last. You ranked it second to last, and Mike, of course, ranked it the highest at 19th worst.
Okay, Mike, are you the biggest Thor fan of all of us?
Probably.
Okay.
You resemble him the most.
And Biran, don't say what you're thinking.
Okay.
I know what he's going to say next.
I won't.
He was going to say which Thor.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to say the one at the end, and I'm going to say that's fucking wrong. Mike is.
No, I was going to say the latest Thor that's coming out. Natalie Portman Thor from Love and Thunder.
I was going to say the Vincent D'Onofrio Thor from Adventures in Babysitting.
That was good. Yeah. Classic Thor.
No plans to bring that up, but it just popped in there somehow. Dare I say it was in the ether.
Well, because before that, the last Thor was the one in the Incredible Hulk TV movie.
Yeah.
Where he thought Hulk was a troll.
mean the animated movie?
No, this was the Bill Bixby Thor movie.
Yeah.
Bill Bixby, Incredible Hulk.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, he did a team up with. He did one movie with Daredevil, one with Thor, and I forgot what the third one was with.
Well, wasn't the Death of Hulk the third movie?
Yes, he died by falling out of a Cessna.
Which was actually the best of the three movies that they did.
Yes, because the Thor guy was cool. But he died from falling out of an airplane, which everyone knows wouldn't kill him.
No.
Yeah, and those didn't make it into the MCU, huh?
No, weirdly.
That is very strange.
Still better than the Ang Lee Hulk, though.
So, any other notable things to discuss with Thor Dark World?
No.
It
had
one of the
Girl's
few-
girl in it, who I like.
Go, Extreme, what?
I think it's the only MCU movie. Like, if you told me to pick out one that was just bad, that would be the one that I would pick.
And Biran likes the one broke girl.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate her. Kat Denning.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I like her because nudes slipped out of her and she owned up to it and said, "Yep, that's me." She didn't say, "Oh, I was hacked" or anything like that. She goes, "I was stupid."
And while I like Natalie Portman, I don't really care for her as Jane in any of these movies. But
No.
whatever.
She was in the first one, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
The
Maybe
next
it's way up
worst.
there.
The next worst is a tie, a two-way tie between.
What is? Oh, so it's a two-way tie.
They have the same score.
As a tiebreaker, which one did one of us have higher? Or you know what I mean? Which one has the highest solo ranking? Because that would be a good tiebreaker. If one person said, "No, it's way up there."
Okay, got it. So the next
Okay.
worst is Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Okay.
That's one that I still liked.
Yeah, I think I had that fifth from the bottom. What about everybody else?
Bottom.
Bottom?
No,
Bottom.
Mike, you had it at 21st.
No, I
You
had
had
a
it
23.
Yeah, 23. Sorry, yeah, 23. I was looking at the wrong line. Yeah, you had it worst. You had it fifth worst. Yeah, everyone else 19th ranked for us three, except Mike had it worst. So that's what bumped it.
Oh, wow. You know,
I think the biggest thing for me with that movie was I was just disappointed because Ant-Man was so good, and I was really looking forward to Ant-Man and Wasp, and it didn't live up to it.
I think it had too many storylines. It had that
It's,
Walter Goggins guy as the kind of supplier of the parts and stuff as a bad guy.
anytime Walter Goggins on screen, it's like, oh, that's that guy.
Yeah, that's that guy.
Yeah, look. Like he's like, isn't he also like in all the Grand Theft Auto games? Like he looks like a villain in everything.
He's in some romantic comedy now on one of the streaming services, and it's really
really?
The Unicorn, yeah.
Yeah.
I know him from Justified, and
Yes.
he's great in that show, but
Because he looks like an evil version of the main guy in Justified.
Well, yeah,
So,
that was the whole duality.
Yeah.
So in this movie, we were looking for Hank Pym's wife, lost in the quantum realm. Ghost we see as the villain of sorts in this movie, and Lawrence Fishburne, everyone's
As
favorite
Goliath.
Cowboy Curtis is there trying to take her in. Does he like her? Is it weird? I don't know.
Yeah,
He likes her.
well, and he plays the MCU character Goliath, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
It's alluded.
but I mean, yeah, he because are they going to do more of these? Is that why they kind of?
I think they want to have a reason for him to be associated with Hank Pym.
Okay. As opposed to just we worked in the past.
Right.
It's always easy to add anybody to any of these storylines, but like we worked together. We
I
both
did
worked
enjoy.
at-
I enjoyed
Stark.
the scene where they were arguing, like, how big did you get?
Yeah, that was
6
good.
inches.
You know, it's hard to see this one as second worst of this list because Paul Rudd's so great at everything.
And Michael
I mean,
Pena.
He's
Yeah.
the perfect man. He doesn't age, which would be a great trait in the MCU to not age.
I think Antony got a little weird. It was like a little too much of the ant, and it looked kind of bad. I thought the giant ant looked stupid.
So I think when we talk about Ant-Man 2, I'll talk a little bit more about that. But in a weird way, I'll bring this up for this too. Both this one and Ant-Man, sometimes the amount of special effects going on takes me out of things, but I know you have to do it to make this kind of movie. Both this and Ant-Man, I get itchy when I watch it because I see a lot of bugs crawling around, and I think about what happens when they crawl in my pee-pee hole when I'm sleeping. I think about that during this. So a big thank you to the filmmakers for making that a part of all of my dreams. Anything else noteworthy of this? I mean, we get to see, the Wasp, the second Wasp in action.
And was it this? Is it this one where he got to fight Falcon?
Yeah. Because Falcon showed up and was like kind of a little embarrassed
because he got beat by Ant-Man. Although Ant-Man on a power ski level is way more powerful than Falcon.
Yeah, but tell him that when they see, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He doesn't have the list of who's in and what they have, but he found out soon enough. Let's see. Yeah, like I said, Goliath is in there as a notable event alluding to. Scott is now stranded, which sets up, the final movie.
Yeah. I thought the Wasp was cool. I thought she was way better than she was in the first one. She was more sympathetic. She was just kind of a jerk in the first one, I guess. She was
that was her thing. It was very much she was the bitch and her dad's the nice guy.
Yeah. Like I've been trying not to use that. Vanessa is telling me I shouldn't use that word anymore.
What word?
Ant.
Oh, okay.
No, bitch. So now I try to refer to someone who I'd normally use that term for. I call them assholes.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm woke.
That's okay. I think a lot of guys are bitches too, though.
Yeah, I do too. But so I think it comes down to I'm weird about hair in movies and characters. Like I didn't like any of the Harry Potter movies after the first one because his hair got too long and weird looking. I did not
Why does that matter?
I don't know.
Why does that matter?
I'm insane and I don't have any hair, and it makes me mad when people that do abuse it.
Okay.
But I liked her hair in the ponytail much better than the weird Karen outfit.
Yeah, that was a throwback to her 60s mod hairstyle.
Yeah, she looked like a Karen, and she looked weird too. So I liked.
That was for the old timers.
Wasp was better in this one than in the first one.
That's for the old timers watching.
Yeah, for the mics out there with the 70s stuff.
Anything else notable on this one?
Well, you mentioned favorite side characters. Michael Pena is one of my favorite side characters.
Yeah, he was one of mine too.
We'll just kind of, as this thing goes on, a couple of things I want to throw out there are like side characters, funniest movie, crazy special effects, and then best villains. Michael Pena, Luis. Every time.
Well, and his two sidekicks were awesome too. Even though they had small parts, they made an impression.
Yeah, they were great too. Every time he cuts into a story, they do the whole drunk history style of.
We had the truth serum, and he just kept going and going, and
yeah. So he's saying it, and everyone else is mouthing it. It's great. So anytime he's he's one of those guys that when he pops up in anything, shit's funny.
Yeah,
every time. So
he was great in The Martian.
Yeah. He was great in Eastbound and Down. If you guys ever watched that show,
I've watched many clips.
Yeah. So he's everything. Chips? No, not Chips.
Yeah, he was in Chips.
Chips. Yeah.
But I'm not allowed to talk about the guys in Chips with anymore.
Yeah, Dax. Right. I think Dax might make it in the MCU one day.
I can see it.
He's got a weird look.
He's distinctive.
Like a villainous weird look. Okay.
So the one that tied it, but the tiebreaker was who had it highest was Iron Man 2.
Okay.
I had it ranked at 12.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Biggest discrepancy so far.
Yes.
You have it at 12. I have it at 23.
Yeah. You had it at 23. Xtreme had it at 22, and so did Mike.
Yeah.
So I had it high, and here I'll tell you why.
Yeah, I mean, defend yourself.
One of my favorite suit-up scenes, which also is a scene that doesn't make any sense, is the suitcase armor. Like I've watched it in slow-mo. I'm like, there's not enough in there to do that. You can't. That doesn't work. But
so that's where you go fake at that moment?
No, but that's to this day, that's my favorite Iron Man armor. Because it reminds me of Silver Centurion, his red and silver outfit, because that's all the color it was, and I like that. I really liked. I always forget his name. I don't know why. Sam Rockwell is one of my favorite actors of all time.
Yes, Hammer.
Yeah. And he was great in this.
Yeah,
what?
He was.
What? Was he getting arrested? No, I was helping. I was helping.
So
Black Widow gets introduced.
Black Widow, dare I say, never looked hotter than when she came in as the assistant.
She was awesome.
Just saying
And
that.
I like when what's this Happy is driving her and he catches the in his rearview mirror looking at her, changing.
Yeah.
And then it brings up also Happy's boxing career because he starts boxing the guy in the Hammer facility, and by the time he's done, Black Widow had already killed like 10 of them. So I like that.
Yeah, Jon Favreau did a good job with just not going over the top with any of his cameos.
Well, here's where he led astray, and we'll get to that. But I just want to give you a hint. It has to do with Spider-Man.
Okay, well,
we'll get to that when we get to that.
Well, that's his most,
right.
on screen the most, probably.
Right.
In those. So Mickey Rourke in this movie.
That's what everyone hates, and I like.
So Mickey Rourke, he has this, and Mike probably remembers of his age group. The early 80s, he becomes like the next big thing.
Yeah.
Then he got a bit of a downward spiral. Then he keeps going and going and going. Then he has The Wrestler. That's his big comeback. But then unlike other comebacks, he didn't stay back.
No.
I don't think he did.
And then it's probably his best performance.
And
ever.
6 years later, he's in Iron Man 2.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? As Ivan Vanko, the Russian, I guess I bought it because look at him.
Yeah. He looks like he grew up in Siberia. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like he went through some shit, even though he did in real life.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a movie. So, and then Sam Rockwell as Justin Hammer did a great job. Sam Rockwell steals every scene he's in everything. So,
mm-hmm. I like his Gary Shandling back and forth.
Yeah,
Robert Downey, Gary Shandling.
Yeah, Shandling did well because then he popped up in a couple other movies later on.
Yep.
War Machine gets introduced as well.
Yep. The ex-wife.
Yeah.
That was a good bit. The ex-wife rocket that just kind of dripped.
And that was this is now Don Cheadle War Machine.
Yep.
Not Terrence Howard. I
like Terrence Howard better. Is that weird?
I did too, but I've accepted Don Cheadle now.
No, Don Cheadle's great, but Terrence Howard, I think, yes, that was my favorite roadie.
Don Cheadle is Don Cheadle, though. That's the thing. I see him playing a role, whereas I'm not as familiar with Terrence Howard.
Yeah, Hustle and Flow was his big one, right?
Yeah.
For Terrence Howard.
Yeah, he's on Powers or Empires, one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the notable events, like I said, War Machine appears, Black Widow debuts, Mjolnir, Thor's hammer appears in the post-credit scene.
Yes.
I forgot about all the post-credit scenes and how impactful those were when you see when you see movies in the theater.
Here's one thing about post-credit scenes is it made me, I kind of hate them for doing that. I wish they would just stick it right at the end of the movie because I don't want to sit through because the credits on a Marvel movie take about 17 hours.
Yeah. So, well, there's the two groups of credits.
Yeah.
There's
mid-credit.
There's the real credits. Then there's the ones that no one's ever going to watch because then it's after the scene.
Yeah. 500,000 Korean animators. I don't need to see that.
I love that when you go and watch these movies in the theater, and everybody knows now, to expect it, but the early ones, and it's great when people are going to stand up and they see, Samuel Jackson come on screen, but people don't sit down. They either stay standing or they stand by where you walk out, like the aisle.
Yeah.
Like you either stay and enjoy or just go and say, you know what, I don't need it. But people get weird in that part. The lights in the theater didn't go on yet. So we all know it's not over. Yeah.
Well, like any movie now that has any sort of sci-fi or fantasy connotation, people are like, are there things after the credits? So that's the first thing I'm doing. I'm looking end scene for Justice League or something stupid like that. I like movie theaters that have the guy go, guys, there's nothing after the credits. Get out. We got to clean the popcorn.
I love, I think it was the first Deadpool and Ryan Reynolds did the Ferris Bueller. It's over. Get out of here. But when I rewatch these, I'm on Disney Plus and I scroll, like, oh shit, this one's 2.5 hours. No, it's 2 hours.
Yes.
It's 30 minutes of credits. Like I forget sometimes that that's the huge chunk is at the end. So, anything else on Iron Man 2?
No.
I'll throw this out there. It came out way early in the, not chronologically, but like in the movie release schedule. It was a little weird to me. I don't know about you guys, but like blowing through the Iron Mans, whereas everything else was spread out. Was that strange to you guys?
It was early. If they were to start over, they wouldn't do it. They'd spread it out more.
Was there like a reason for that you read or anything about it?
The only thing I could think was Iron Man was successful. We need to get another one going right now because we don't know how successful this whole Marvel thing's going to be.
I mean, it was Iron Man 1, Hulk, Iron Man 2,
Mhm.
and then Thor. So it's like, and then 3 was only like 2 years after that.
And really, if it wasn't for the end credit scene, there would be it seemed like there's very little relation between the Hulk and the rest of the MCU. Because it was a Universal movie.
Yeah, different movie. It kind of like is in this group on a technicality of sorts.
On the end credits technicality, basically.
Yeah, like it's in, but like, the Sony stuff's not going to be in. This one's in. Would it have been cool to? Well, we'll get to Hulk when we get to Hulk. I don't want.
Hulk's the next one.
Oh, okay then.
Yeah.
Great segue. So Hulk cumulatively is 20 or 19 now.
Right.
Yeah, 20.
20.
Because we had a tie.
Fourth from bottom, 20.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the Ed Norton Hulk.
Yep.
Or Ed Norton Bruce Banner. And Biran, I know you actually hate Mark Ruffalo. You despise him.
I don't think he's a good actor.
And
I think they didn't help him because almost all his I didn't like any of the dialogue that he was talking about except the first Avengers. He was okay.
I kind of like him bumbling. I don't know why. I like him bumbling around about
They make him
stuff.
seem incompetent. Like he's supposed to be one of the Illuminati, right? Or no, he's not because he's the Hulk, but he's up there with Tony Stark on intelligence.
But it's almost like absent-minded professor style where he's, and I grew to love the new Bruce Banner style.
They also started making Hulk look more like Mark Ruffalo in the later movies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because when I rewatched this one, it didn't seem like they put Ed Norton's face on there.
No.
It was its own thing. So
if Ed Norton wasn't an a-hole, he would have probably been in the MCU movies.
I'm a little. I don't want to say I was surprised that he was in there because Robert Downey Jr. was on his bit of a comeback. Ed Norton never went away. He was been a great actor for a long time, but it was almost like, oh, we're putting big names in these movies. And Liv
Tyler was a big name at the time as well.
Oh yeah, Liv Tyler, exactly. She hasn't done much since, but at the time,
I think she's doing okay.
Yeah, I heard her dad is somebody.
Yeah,
I heard. This is notable, largely considered the least essential MCU film. Is that true?
The end credit scene is the only thing that ties in.
Mike, what?
I've never seen it.
Okay.
It's the one movie I haven't seen.
Yeah, I really wanted a new Hulk movie,
yeah.
But I don't know.
You kind of got it with Ragnarok.
Yeah, that was, and that's going to be.
That's the only way they can do it contractually.
Yeah,
they can't do a standalone.
There's too many, and that's part of the weirdness of all this. As fun as all these movies are, sticking to a timeline and then bouncing around the same timeline, something we've never seen before ever. Even franchises we're familiar with, like Star Wars or James Bond, these big, it's not like this, where everything intertwines. So you have the problem of the corporate side of it all. And it sucks to have that. Like, it sucks to know that you can't do something because of other arrangements,
Well, also, like, the problem with the MCU as a whole is, like, my mom's like, should we go see Avengers Endgame? I'm like, you haven't seen a single Marvel movie? No, you shouldn't. You should not go see Avengers Endgame.
There was I was talking to one of my buddies at work, and before Endgame came out, he said his dad, similar story, said, "Oh, I want to see this." He's like, "I'm going to tell you the ones to see," and I wish I wrote it down, but it was pretty much the 2 Avengers, probably maybe Civil War, but he gave them like 5.
Mm-hmm.
Like, see these 5, then we'll go see this together. And I think that's something that has to be done at a certain point. Many of these movies are standalone.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of them are origin stories that can be standalone. As we know with any other superhero movie, if you tell the audience how you are, who you are, well then it's now a movie. Doesn't have to be connected. These, which we'll get to later on, because I want to talk about it with the new Spider-Man, but these were some of them, depending on where you jumped in, you might have felt lost. And I bet you a lot of people were Googling shit before and after seeing all these movies.
Mm-hmm.
But let's be honest, considering their source, no one can pick up a comic book nowadays
you have to
know what the hell is going on.
Even though every comic book starts at a new number 1 every 6 months.
But even then,
you don't know what's going on.
No, Mike, you're right. It's way different now. You almost, and I don't know if you guys experience this because I don't know how much interaction you have with millennials. Mike maybe so with students, and but I mean, there's people I talk to that are much younger than me. Like, they don't give a shit about spoilers or anything. They don't. It's just, I want to know it all. It's like Matrix. I want to just have it all put in my head, and then that's it. So people just know stuff anyway. And there are things. I mean, I remember seeing pretty much everyone. I think I've seen everyone in the theater. And you hear people saying stuff that are going to, like, hey, you want to do this? So to your point, Mike, about you can't just pick it up, I don't think it's really a problem for the target audience because they've already scoured the internet for shit anyway. I don't think they really are looking to have their eyes open. Whereas us are a little different. I love going in fresh on things.
Oh, and Thunderbolt Ross gets introduced.
Yeah. So
and he
we have
has been in. Was it William Hurt in all of them? It's William Hurt.
Yeah.
Right?
So he's Secretary of Defense or no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
because it was J.K. Simmons in the Ang Lee one, wasn't it?
Oh, I can't wait to talk about J.K. Simmons, by the way, later in this episode.
Yep. How they used him was amazing.
Oh my God, we're gonna talk about that.
Yeah,
it's great. Yeah, like whatever. So yeah, he did show up there. You never know. There might be something. Love to get a Red Hulk movie one day.
Spoiler. I actually bought the Red Hulk, the first trade for that, and I didn't know when I bought it that it was the Red Hulk, so it was kind of fun.
I have some comics I read without knowing, some I did, just based on friends or whatever. But depending on how you enjoy Marvel properties, it's the great thing about it is you can pick 5 different people and they all enjoy things differently.
Mm-hmm.
Some are just straight up movies and they know more than I do about any of these movies, and they like, well, you didn't catch this Easter egg in this one and he said this. And then some are, I don't like that and don't like that because they didn't do it like the comic. But everybody enjoys these differently, which is great. So
I always think of it as the MCU is comic as intended versus comic as written. To throw it back to a gaming term. I would
agree with that. It gets the point across, but it's not trying to do. In fact, you mentioned earlier about the multiverses. Didn't they even say that the MCU is not Earth 616?
Did
they? They gave it its own number, I believe.
Oh, that's a brilliant
you're
cop
right.
out.
I remember that now. Yeah.
That's a brilliant cop out for the comic book nerds. Like, no, well, it's not 616.
Right. I saw that as a response to someone complaining about something, and I'm like, oh, well, there you go.
Like, yeah, it was in the Spider-Man.
I rest my case. It's over. I mean, so.
Yeah.
So Hulk is 20 out of 23. Biran, what is 19?
Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Okay. I had that third from the bottom.
Yep, I had it fourth from the bottom. Mike ranked it pretty decently.
Yeah. I don't know why. It was the stuff in the middle. It was just.
Listen, when James Spader speaks.
Yes, he was great.
All I hear is James Spader, though.
Yes.
I know.
That's all you need to hear.
That's why it's fourth from the bottom and not the bottom for me.
I still think Vision is kind of weak.
Yeah, so obviously, people know the story with this one. Tony Stark, Bruce Banner creates Ultron, and as like everything happens, things don't go as planned. Ultron becomes bad. Here, I thought this was pretty funny though. When we see Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch appear, and they kill. Did they kill off Quicksilver in this one right away?
Yes. I know at the very end.
At the end. But it was like, because I was thinking about the X-Men movies and how I'm like, oh, we just got a new Quicksilver.
Yeah. and you know what? The X-Men movies did Quicksilver better, I thought.
Oh, wait.
Much better.
Where everything is slowed down and he's
like
just
pushing stuff around. Yeah.
That's probably my favorite X-Men scene ever. So So we see them. So that some people got a little excited, thinking like they're going to have some X-Men-ish, but no, we're not doing that.
No, they're not related to Magneto. That's done.
So we have, let's see. So, Vision obviously is now
Paul Bettany.
Paul Bettany, which was so you see essentially Jarvis
Right.
come to life.
And I love Paul Bettany. I don't know. I think they skewed too much towards comic book accurate appearance. And he just looked goofy to me, like a clown.
Well, I would agree a little. When you're watching these movies, and some of them, I don't remember which ones, or even if it might have been even older Marvel movies, like not part of this, but like so every now and then they address how people look. Like I think back to like an old X-Men, and Wolverine's like, "What do you expect me to be in brown and yellow spandex?"
Mm-hmm.
We all know the movie look to Marvel characters is going to be different. So they did make him a little bit like it, but even in the comics, he's pretty like bright green, I think, right? Bright green and purple.
Green, red, and yellow,
yeah. So they still made him a little easier on the eyes in the movie. And I thought it was fun to see when you hear a nice, friendly British AI voice, and oh yeah, that's right, it is Paul Bettany. I forgot. Yeah, he's a distinguished gentleman. Like looking at him. Outside of that, though, it was disappointing, this movie to me, because the first Avengers movie was so good, and this one just wasn't there for me.
I really liked Hawkeye in this one as kind of a mentor for Scarlet Witch towards the end.
Yeah.
Where he's like, we're on a giant floating island and we're fighting with gods and we got robots and I got a bow and arrow.
Yeah, Hawkeye got way better throughout the entire series. Like,
yes. He became my favorite, I think.
Yeah. Well, in a weird way, he was almost kind of like, because he is what he is compared to everybody else that are these godlike superpowers, he was almost like us in there.
Yeah, he was the everyman. He and Scarlet Witch, because the opening battle was awesome against was it Baron Zemo or whatever?
Yeah.
They go, what should we do? Go for the weakest ones, the spy and the archer or whatever. Whereas Scarlet Witch and Hawkeye, while the least powerful of the Avengers, are the most competent.
You mean Black Widow?
Yeah, Black Widow. Yeah.
Yeah, what's that? It's if we were playing a game, it's a different like skill category.
Yeah, they're tiers. They're halflings.
So these notable events: Winter Soldier's revealed to be Bucky. Shield is officially dismantled. Nick Fury fakes his own death. He did great in this movie. I thought Samuel Jackson was really good in this one. And then we see Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch. So a lot of like important things happened in this, but it's still ranked the lowest of one of the ensemble movies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like all the Avengers are. Civil War. Those are the movies with everybody. This one's probably the least ranked of them all. Mike, you had it much higher, or no?
Yeah, I did, but
both Mike and Xtreme.
If I rewatched some of these movies over the weekend, I would lower it.
Had it ranked 12th, both Brian and.
Okay, Xtreme. Care to jump in?
I don't know. I mean, the whole mid-range of these Marvel movies, they're all good.
You can mix and match them.
Yeah.
It's like, where does everything fit in?
Fair enough. I'm not going to call that a cop-out answer because you're right. It's actually right, correct. Because a lot of them you have the really good ones and the ones that we don't care for, and then a lot of them are just in the middle that we probably could change it out. I still put this one in my lowest third if I was putting them in thirds, only because as an Avengers movie, I shouldn't have felt like, it's still going.
Yeah.
I already felt in this one. So that's 18 or 19? You're on.
It's the next one.
Okay. So
I didn't have them sorted like that.
That's fine. Next one up from the bottom. What do we have?
Captain Marvel.
Okay.
Captain Karen and the haircut.
You mean the second haircut?
Yeah.
So I think with Captain Marvel, I like Brie Larson, so I'm enjoying watching the movie. Is it better than a lot of other ones? It's not really. I think that's a good figure. Is that the Hot Toys one?
Yeah. And it has a regular head too with a regular hair, and she comes with a bomber jacket and everything. So
how's the ass?
And it has the cat.
Okay.
The ass is not as good as it looks good. It looks good, but it's not. Scarlet Witch has a squishy, or not Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
Black Widow has a squishy butt. Like they put silicone in there. Hers is hard.
I think they want to make this one more appealing to
Subaru drivers.
To who?
Subaru drivers.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe. I'm okay with that. I'm on board.
There was the one where I liked every character in it more than Captain Marvel.
So I have this. I have it probably the highest of everybody, I would imagine.
I had it second to last.
I have it right in the middle, I think. So
14. Yeah, you're right. Almost, you're slightly above average.
Yeah. So for me, it was just fun. Like it takes place in the 90s, and it's a fun style of that. I was wondering, how are you going to do Captain Marvel in these movies? Because there's different stories to tell with that. And so they went that kind of route. And they tied everything, they tied her movie, or that movie, into it all with the pager at the end. She was nicknamed the Avenger. That was the Avenger Initiative. You got to see Samuel Jackson play himself in the 90s. Coulson's back because it's the 90s. So like as a movie, I don't want to say it was great, but it was just, at no point did I not have fun watching it. You know what I mean?
I don't even think it's that I dislike Brie Larson as an actress and think she's one note. It's more a superhero without flaws. It's kind of boring. She's the most powerful and she has no flaws. Where's the fun in that?
Well, she's discovering everything. So that's what so instead of seeing the flaw, you now see she's figuring things out. Oh, Kree aren't good guys? Oh shit. Like
I do like that. I like the twist with the Skrull becoming good guys.
Who was the main Skrull that was
Ben
at
Mendelsohn
the house? I forgot. He was phenomenal.
Ben Mendelsohn, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Ben Mendelsohn. Yeah. He was, every time he talked, he was so funny. Great side character. He'd be up there.
Goose was great. Ben Mendelsohn was great. Samuel L. Jackson was great.
Yeah. We get to see the big war story about what happened to his eye as well.
I think this is infected.
He got Flurkined, I believe.
Yeah.
It was one of those movies, though, that you have to see it in the context. All the stuff that you said was really good ties into the context of the meta story, but
I agree.
If you just saw that movie, it would be like, which I'm not saying is wrong.
But I think that's why it came out when it did, because I think it came out between Infinity War and Endgame.
Yes, it did. It was right before Endgame, and
yeah,
I get a feeling it wouldn't have made $1 billion if it wasn't placed right there. Look, she even lights up.
It was a genius placement of it, though. So, let's see. Any other notable things? Post credits. Oh, did it light up? Let me see that. Wow, pretty fancy. Action figures have come a long way.
They're better at what they cost.
I had a Boba Fett that just did this, and then the rocket didn't come out. Even though some kids got it out.
And they got it out and they choked on it.
They choked on it. Mine didn't even fucking come out. So is that rare? I don't know.
Yeah, that thing's hugely rare. Get the shooty ones.
The shooting one, because that was the one you had to send away for.
Yeah.
Even then, because I sent away for mine and I still got the non-shooty one. So
it was before some kid shot his eye out. Yeah.
Xtreme will appreciate this one. My best send away. I had a GI Joe send away. It was a guy riding like a surfboard with a sail. Is that something?
Yes.
Not a parasail.
Not parasail, but it's like a surfboard with a sail. And you couldn't really play with them because he had all these. You had to just set them up. But it was a proofs of purchase kind of thing. A lot of stuff in this one as far as it ties, like Mike said. So a lot you get to notice the symbol from that Nick Fury got on the pager, where that tied into. You see the Skrulls. We already saw the Kree, I believe, in Guardians, but still see the Skrulls in there.
Which are going to play a bigger role in Phase 4.
Yeah. I think it's important to let the normal MCU audience know of all these races. You have to bring them into the cosmic side of things. Because if all you know is Guardians and the stuff they said, you got to know more and more and more. And
I wonder if they have a rule. It's like if you're going to introduce something new, you have to hint at it in at least 2 movies,
and then reference it in 2 more later on.
Yeah.
post-credit scene, modern day, Captain Marvel returns to Earth, asking the Avengers for Fury's whereabouts. So easy way to tie that into, can't wait till this other gigantic movie comes out in 6 months.
Did you guys watch the all the scuttlebutt of how no one liked Brie Larson on set? Like they do interviews and it's Brie Larson and it was Don Cheadle and I think someone else, and they were just rolling their eyes every time she spoke.
Was that, I mean, I remember reading that when the movie came out. Was anything ever debunked of that though?
No.
Oh,
I think it's also because these guys had all worked together and she just came in. Because actually, I think they filmed her role or stuff in Endgame before they finished filming Captain Marvel.
Well, that would make sense. Yeah. I think, I mean, I like her, so I enjoyed watching the movie, but I could see where that would have been, new main character in there.
Well, because she kept on going like, I'm the most powerful of all the Avengers. And I'm like, whatever, you're written that way. You're not more powerful. Your character's written that way. Also, I don't get why she's so powerful.
Take it easy, Biran.
Huh?
You take it easy.
But why is because her power came from basically a power surge out of one of the Infinity Gems, right?
Yeah. Wasn't that her DNA was mixed with
it was the engine that was powered by one of the Infinity
the Tesseract,
Gems. The Tesseract.
You know what? I'm thinking, in the movie, it's part of the.
So she was exposed to that, but like Vision had one mounted in his head. Shouldn't he be more powerful? I mean, he's dead, but whatever. Spoilers.
Yeah, I mean.
But he didn't use it properly.
Yeah. And also Hulk was gimped from the very beginning. They never made Hulk as powerful as he was in the comics.
No, he was. I mean, you get closer to it, later on, maybe Thor Ragnarok and stuff. Never the power level that you would normally see.
Well, that was the whole point in the first Avengers, though, was like they have this and we have a Hulk. So I mean,
like he was more powerful in the first Avengers than he was in the rest of the series, I think.
Because there was more Banner in him later on. He was getting smarter.
Yeah, he was getting cucked. So Captain Marvel was better than I thought it was going to be, but
yeah, it was. I mean, it's put into the category of. If when you're watching the movies, you see the ones that are on Earth, and you see like the cosmic based ones, and so it is that different kind of style. But it was, like I said, it was fun for me, and I love that they decided to go back to the '90s because. The
'80s have been overdone with Stranger Things and stuff.
And when you're watching this timeline of, we have things that happened in the past, and then now we're all current, essentially. From Iron Man to Infinity War, we're like in real time now. It was cool to see that one go back. People freaked out when they got to see Agent Coulson again. I remember people in the audience like, "You like him that much? Like girls are fucking screaming for this guy?" Okay.
It's like, how come no one watches that shitty ABC show then?
Right, you didn't watch that. I was happy to see Samuel Jackson in that. He was great in there. He did a good job.
Coulson's my favorite side character.
Yeah, he was on my list too. Although I didn't watch the shitty ABC show.
Yeah.
I did, and I liked it. But...
Everyone says it got better after the first season,
I only
but I gave
watched
up after the first episode.
I never actually sat down and really watched it. Is it worth it, Xtreme? I might do it one day.
It's not great, but I enjoyed it.
Okay. You know what? I'll mark that down.
A very enthusiastic endorsement from Xtreme. It's not great.
It's not great. And then that's the only part we took in the promo. It's not great.
Well, it'll be on the box. It'll say it's ... great.
I believe Peter Travers of Rolling Stone said it was a tour de force.
Yes. Edge of your seat thrill ride.
All right, Biran, next up on the list.
Next is Spider-Man Far From Home. The most recent.
Really?
Yeah. Wow, okay. Spider-Man Far From Home. Let's say where everybody fell on that one.
I ranked it 15th.
Okay.
Xtreme ranked it 18th. You ranked it 14th, JP, and Valdric ranked it 10th.
10th.
Okay. So we're all in the middle, the middle of the pack there for it. I really enjoyed the new Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland. I think he did a phenomenal job. Like, I think, and you guys can debate me on this if you want, compared to Tobey Maguire,
Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield. I was gonna.
I've not seen any of his. I've just seen bits. I'm like, this sucks.
Yeah, I always reminds me of Hayden Christensen. They're like the same guy to me. But and then if we want to count, well, the animated movie, if you count that, it was great. I liked it, but I think by far Tom Holland captured Peter Parker better than
because he's the most. He seems the most age appropriate too. Like all the other ones are like, you're not in high school.
Well, yeah, and you're right. There's that. There's that. You guys are definitely in late 20s.
It's like Beverly Hills 90210, and you got 35-year-olds hanging out of the Peach Pit.
Like, you're a man. The great thing about, they did so many cool things with both of these new Spider-Mans that, the fact that, I mean, I'm going to be talking about the other one too, but like, we just skipped past the origin because we didn't need it. I love that.
We've seen it so many times.
Yeah, this movie in particular. So we see they're on a trip to it's the European Vacation meets Spider-Man. You were there
without the really ugly Rusty from European Vacation.
The worst Rusty of all.
Yes.
They're in Europe. They're on a school trip, and we see these elementals pop up, and we see a new character, Mysterio, played by
Jake
Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh shit, he's kicking everyone's ass. He's kind of got his back, like, hey, I'll look out for you, kid. Don't, you're like me. We're special, and S.H.I.E.L.D. is their new version of that, essentially, where they're not really, because they're disbanded, but they're still doing their thing covertly.
Is that when they've converted to Sword or whatever?
They had I don't know if they said that in the movie. Did they?
No.
But it was hinted at, like a little wink and a nod.
They were like the new kind of, their version of it. But there was a lot I liked about it. This takes place after Endgame. So this movie takes place in 2022, the future. We're watching it. We see Nick Fury in all these movies. He's the ultimate badass who's smarter than everybody, who everyone reports to, but not in these. He's always left out. He's always like, because it's like you're dealing with a teenager and he thinks the algebra test is more important than, saving the world. I like those kind of, those contradictions in there because he's like, what do you mean when John Favreau, Happy Hogan, he's like, you just ghosted him? Yeah, I'm like, I don't have time to talk to him right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what? You have to talk to it. If Nick Fury calls, you have to talk to him. So there's so much great things about this one. Then it was a fun twist you have with how they did they decided to do this take on things to have it all be a scam. It all be projectors on drones showing everybody all this craziness is going on.
Here's where I lose it though. They show the drones when they actually fire. They're firing guns.
Yeah.
There would be evidence of conventional warfare breaking up the stuff when they shoot it. It's not lava that's hitting it. It's a bunch of guns.
Because the drones are real.
Right. And like they show them, they're firing little machine guns, and it's like, oh, that's lava he's shooting on. Like, no,
Listen,
it's not.
Biran, have you ever been to Prague?
No, I haven't.
Okay, you don't know what it looks like. Neither do I. Maybe it's already got bullet holes in it.
It probably does. But here's my two takeaways. I spent the first 20 minutes of this movie thinking, like, isn't it convenient that all of Spider-Man's friends also got dusted in the 50% snap? So they're all the same age and in the same graduating class? All of his friends?
The one guy got turned into a hunk, though. He didn't, right? Wasn't that the whole thing? So that MJ liked the other guy because he looked like a man because he was 5 years old? I thought that was hilarious.
But it was like Ned and MJ and I love what they did with the Flash Thompson character. Made him a smarmy Indian kid.
Yeah,
I love that.
We don't know if he's Indian. He's Middle Eastern beer.
Right. Well, yeah.
We don't know. But yeah, I actually thought you would have a problem with, because I believe, wasn't Flash like blonde hair, blue eyes?
Yeah, he was like the football jocko guy who picked on Peter Parker.
Always the guy.
I like that twist.
Him. And now he's like a little shorter Middle Eastern guy. You like that?
I do. But he's a little a-hole, a little rich a-hole though too.
You think they did too many things to make it modern, or no?
No, but but it always struck me like, okay, all the main characters happen to be ones that got snapped away, so they could bring them all back at the same time period. What happens to people that remarried? Like the whole thing's like,
there's so much that they don't deal with the 5-year gap, and if you do remarry and have kids, and all of a sudden
Where's the
your wife
legal
or husband shows up?
ramifications?
I would say we open up more of the laws to have a big love situation, and everyone lives happily ever after.
The other thing, and this is what I was hinting at before with Happy Hogan, I think Jon Favreau had a little too much influence on the script.
On this
Because
one,
there's no way that Marissa Tomei hooks up with Jon Favreau.
No.
I bet you he said from the beginning, I don't care what you do to the producers, I need to get with Aunt May.
Yes.
He needs to make that happen. And that was one of those where you can tell throughout the movie too that Peter Parker's just pissed off, like, so you have the school drama, you have the girlfriend drama, you have the save the world drama, but most importantly, this fucking guy's banging my aunt.
My aunt. And you know that Peter Parker's got weird feelings about his aunt.
Well, I mean, wouldn't you?
Oh, they would not be weird. I just state them. I'm like, I don't care if we're related.
There was those two Spider-Man. They're so much fun.
Yeah.
That they had just the fun moments of Ned was a great side character.
Yeah.
Throughout a couple of these.
Ned, I think the actor of Ned is actually ripped now.
No.
Yeah. Or I might have dreamt that. Like I dream a lot of weird things.
That does happen though.
Yeah.
Like what was the one I saw that somebody
The dude, the fat kid from Mallrats.
Yeah, Willem is ripped now.
Yeah.
There was a couple other ones too. I forgot, but I mean, is Chunk ripped now?
I don't know.
He might be. You do enough truffle.
No, the
shuffles.
chubby kid from Stand By Me.
Oh, Jerry O'Connell.
Yeah, because he got ripped
Yeah,
into
but
the sliders.
that's not. But yeah, I mean, like people you don't even know their names. Like
Right.
the guy from. There's a few.
It's a
others.
sailboat.
Schooner.
I do know
Yeah,
his
he
name.
was great. Guy in a chair was good. Extreme. Did you enjoy the new the Spider-Man?
So I have some opinions on the new Spider-Mans. I'm a Tobey guy.
Okay.
Tobey Maguire is my Spider-Man.
But just the first two, right? Even the third one?
Just the first two. Let's not get
The third
crazy.
one we could just pretend doesn't exist.
Yeah.
The emo
So,
Spider-Man.
so my big problem with Spider-Mans is rebooting and restarting this franchise so many different times. And then this one, the only reason it was so high on my list was because they were fun. So I did have fun, but I went in with like a bad attitude, I guess, because I was like, why are you not only starting this series again? You could just pick up where it is and have a different actor. That's okay. But
Is it because they made MJ black? Is that really why you're mad?
It is. For Extreme, it is.
no, all the changes and things too just felt like change for the sake of change because we need something different. And I didn't
will say-
like that Peter Parker seemed more like an annoying teenager that I wanted to smack rather than a super intelligent like scientist.
Yeah, I never got that out of it. I agree with that. I never got the super smart scientist angle out of Peter Parker.
There was one moment in this movie,
Oh yeah, when he's
where it was when he's explaining, the multiverses are real, when he's getting told about Mysterio's backstory, and he's like, "Hey, don't apologize for being the smartest guy in the room," that kind of thing.
Right.
Extreme. Let me ask you this: when the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, is that the right pluralization? Spider-Man.
It's like Attorney General. It's Spiders Men.
Right. Passers-by.
Yeah.
When those came out, Extreme, you didn't have a teenage son, and now you do. Are you biased against
Are you saying you hate Alex? Is what the problem is?
Quick-witted teenage sons?
No, not at all. I guess I prefer the teenagers that were in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man over the teenagers.
I do like 25-year-old teenagers better than 18-year-old teenagers. Yeah.
I really like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
The first
Was the second one Sam Raimi too?
Yes.
Okay.
I
I don't remember a lot about the second one, but I remember loving the first one.
The second one was for the longest time the best superhero movie, I thought.
Oh,
Yeah,
the second
it really
one had
was
Doc Ock,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
That's right. I remember
The scene
enjoying
where
it.
he's holding back the trains.
Yeah.
And
Did
that's amazing.
I might have told you the story, but this was the longest I've ever held in a piss in my life, was watching Spider-Man 2 in the theater. I was going through a phase where I refused to get up in the middle of the movie. Now it's like, are you kidding me? I want the end seat. And
Yep.
Heather will tell me what I missed. I don't give a shit. But I refused to get up. I had to pee so bad halfway through, and I was so riveted. My legs went numb. Actually numb. The credits rolled, and it was about to have the credits roll. It was right at the end. I don't remember what it was. Enough where it was like we knew it was the end. And I start to make my way out. I go and pee, and I pee for like 2 minutes. It felt like I don't even feel like I did pee because the pee's still in me still. But
like you finish peeing and you have to pee again like 5 minutes later.
I come back, everyone's walking out normal, and because I'm a Peletis, I'm gonna ask to get a refill on the popcorn and the pop, of course.
As you leave, yep.
Yeah, as we would. And then I go, you know what, I gotta go pee again. Yes. I don't know what damage was caused as a result, but I guess I love the movie because I couldn't get up.
The famous astronomer Tycho Brahe died by holding in his piss too long.
Oh shit, good thing I'm not a famous astronomer.
Yep.
Yeah. You'd have a golden nose, though.
That's okay.
I would still probably put Raimi's Spider-Man 2 in my top 10 superhero movies.
Yeah, I would like to watch them again. I think
I've never gotten through 3. I've always stopped it before halway through. I'm like,
is that the 70s show kid was in that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
He played Venom, Eddie Brock, right?
Yeah.
He was. Oh man, I totally forgot about that. I remember Sandman in that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, so they were both.
Yes, that was the problem. There was too many.
I don't remember that one at all. So.
I think this movie, getting back to the Spider-Man.
Thank you, Mike. Somebody else.
The elementals as the villains was kind of they have Hydro Man. They have
Molten Man.
Have a list of Spider-Man villains based on the elements that I thought that they were using, and they didn't.
When you watched it, Mike, halfway through the movie, and when you're about an hour in, you're around halfway, and the elementals get destroyed, it did set up what's the catch. So that was kind of cool that they said, oh, it's fake. That's never been done in any of these movies before, where a city's being destroyed, but it's not really. So I enjoyed that twist. You're right. They could have made it real with real villains, but
no, I'm just saying they could have either make them fake, but make them at least a nod to the Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. I also loved at the very end the Mysterio when he's fighting and all, because that was extremely well done. That last fight.
It looked like a video game. It looked like a video game that I can't afford, like a good one.
And it kind of, because of do you ever see like the really trippy Spider-Man from like 69, 70 cartoons? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a throwback to those I really liked. So
I think my favorite, like totally I get it scene was when he takes MJ on a swing and she's freaking out the whole time like any reasonable person would.
Yes.
Because you don't know Spider-Man has the super cider sense is always going to catch you. And she's like, you never have to do that again.
I think she did great. I think there was a whole.
Oh, I love her. I love her as MJ.
Like,
I know.
You
what sold me on her was in the first Spider-Man movie when she goes, "Where are you going, Peter?" And she's like, "Well, I'm going to go." She goes, "I'm just kidding. I don't care." Played it cool. And she also goes, I have something to tell you. She goes, "You're Spider-Man," because she's not an idiot.
She was great. She kind of you sense in a way. I know Xtreme brought up like a lot of things changed to modernize, and there's always good to that. And there's always like, oh, you didn't have to. But I kind of like that they gave her like the Aubrey Plaza style of life.
Yes.
I'm only gonna talk about dark things. I'm gonna have like no reaction. I think, and I don't know because I'm old, but I think that like persona could not resonate better with kids that age right now. I don't know.
Oh yeah, totally.
I would imagine that would be cool right now.
And because I'm such a radical feminist, I appreciate that she's not some cupcake buxom lady, that she's a strong, independent woman. Actually, I don't care about that. I think the actor's great, so I really liked her.
Let's move on. Next one on the list.
Next one on the list is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Wow. Okay.
I think this one suffered by how good maybe the first one was.
Yeah, I have Guardians 7th from the bottom. I'm imagining you guys are probably around there or a little better.
I have it at 5.
Yeah.
6.
5 from the top.
Yes.
Yeah, Mike had it very high. He had it much higher than the rest of us. You had it 17th. Yep. Xtreme had it 15th, and I had it 18th. So us three were close. This is Mike throwing a wrench in the works.
So, Mike, why don't you kick it off with how much you loved Ego the Living Planet?
Well, it was okay. It was far better than is represented in the comic book. I didn't like how they made him a Celestial, but I'll deal with that.
They didn't have a plan to do anything with Celestials otherwise, I don't think. So they just said,
Well,
let's just put them all.
They're going to come out with the Eternals movie, and that is very integral.
Right, yeah. I forgot about that movie.
Yeah, it's in the can. It's ready to go. They just had,
Yeah.
I totally forgot about
But
that.
anyways, I just enjoy this movie. I just really.
Do you like the cosmic stuff the best, Mike, would you say?
Yeah, in the movies, yes. Now,
Yeah.
Marvel's cosmic in the comics sucks balls, but in the movies, they do a good job of it.
I think this way because they make it weird enough where it's funny and lighthearted. Even though the stakes are usually higher in these, they're more lighthearted than the Avengers and the more down to
Some
earth.
of these movies, though, like they couldn't be made years ago. Not just the special effects, but just you weren't. I don't think the average moviegoer was putting up with this kind of stuff 20 years ago.
Well, I don't think you could really. If this was the first Marvel movie, I mean, I know it's a sequel, but you know what I mean. It wouldn't do well. You needed Iron Man 1 to make this possible. Yeah.
Well, talk about obscure comics. How many people were even into Guardians of the Galaxy anyway? That is, I mean, to most people, this is their first taste of it.
When they announced they were doing Guardians of the Galaxy, I thought they've gotten way over their heads. They think they can't fail.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we were already, all of us were probably already all in with everything.
I was all in on once Iron Man came out and it was as good as it was. I'm like, everything they do, I want to watch.
So in Guardians 2, you have basically, you see they expand on all the cosmic stuff. See a lot more of the galaxy. Gamora continues her story with Nebula. So there's that. You get to see at the end all that cool stuff with the Ravagers,
which are the original Guardians.
Extreme probably got the original got a boner with Stallone on screen there. Probably enjoyed that. We all did.
And Hannah Montana was the robot head, I think.
Yeah, and Yondu said, "I'm Mary Poppins, y'all."
Yeah.
Michael Rooker was amazing.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Does he count as a side character?
He might be my favorite side character.
If he's a side character, I don't know if he
totally
is.
A side character.
He's too popular. If he is, he is, Mike. Then
yeah,
he's the best.
Yeah. Well, I really love Sean Gunn too. So
yeah.
There's a lot. Go ahead, sorry.
The only reason I had this so low on my list, I think, because if you could take all the stories that happen in this movie individually and broke them out into individual stories, I don't think there's anything wrong with any of them. They're all fun, but there was so much crammed into it.
Yeah.
And then the first Guardians movie was pretty straightforward, was pretty linear storytelling, and then you have this one where there's just so many different stories going on. I felt kind of overwhelmed, and it just felt really long. Where if those would have been episodes of a series, I think I would have loved them.
Everyone in the group kind of had when you watch a sitcom and there's little side stories and they all come together. There's a lot of stuff going on.
A lot of B stories, basically.
Yeah. Peter's trying to figure out what, he wants to, should he take up his dad on this? Or then he finds out what he did. He's like, oh, fuck you. There's a lot of that. There's much stuff at the end, though, that they're leaving doors open to a lot of other things.
Yeah.
Towards the end there's a lot of stuff they show. That's pretty cool.
They for Guardians 3, they could go in 10 different directions.
Yeah. What's that, Mike?
And again, the whole stuff with Thor and all of that at the end. So
yeah.
And also you get to see that Chris Pratt got in shape just for the first Guardians movie and then gave up.
Yeah. Biran, you mentioned it wasn't this movie they referenced it. It was one of the it was either Infinity War or Endgame that because you said, because when I rewatched this one, I remember you were like, oh, they talked about how he got fat, and that was later on, but you saw it on screen.
Yeah, you saw that they didn't do a shirtless scene with him in the second one.
I don't want to say fat. He's a Schomburg 9. We all know this.
Yeah.
Right. Well, Hollywood fat.
Do you guys think they're going to bring Yondu back somehow?
I mean, with the Doctor Strange movie coming out, they can literally do anything they want.
Yeah.
Do you think they'll bring him back in a prequel, though? instead.
Yeah, well, I would like to see a prequel,
Right.
like with just the Ravagers.
That's what I'm hoping for. Because
Or a
otherwise,
Disney Plus series, maybe, but I don't think you get Stallone for a Disney Plus series.
it could happen. They're starting to shit those out pretty soon. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't put anything past something you would think wouldn't be popular might happen.
Yeah. I like Mantis.
Okay.
She's great, and I think
yeah.
I think the most important thing in that movie was the bringing together of Nebula and Gamora.
Yeah.
Nebula and Gamora is great. You have the sister who's always getting the shit kicked out of her,
Yep.
getting things, put on her instead. Gamora's the golden daughter of sorts, and so that was a cool dynamic. Drax was awesome in it because
he took it to the next level because he was great in the first one, but it was clear like he's not much of an actor. He's gotten better.
Yeah. So the stuff between him and Mantis is really funny.
You're hideous.
Yeah. On the inside or whatever.
Did you guys see Hotel Artemis with him and Jodie Foster?
I've seen parts of it. Yeah.
He's really good in that too.
Yeah.
Like I think I read one thing that's really cool is a lot of kids with autism, he's their favorite superhero because he's basically autistic on the spectrum with how his race is, where he takes everything literally. So he's become like the favorite superhero of autistic kids, which I thought was kind of neat.
I never thought about it. It's a good point though.
Yeah.
And on that note, like something I forgot to bring up with Captain Marvel when it came out, like representation for like kids going to see this stuff and seeing them on the screen, like it doesn't always mean anything to me. I don't think it's very special. Like Captain Marvel is like, okay, I thought it was too long and drawn out, but my daughter loved it. Like it's her favorite thing to do. Like autistic kids with Drax and
it's about making, and this is why they're so smart, they make what they call a 4-quadrant movie. You appeal to all like men, women, and minorities and whatever, and kids. That's the 4 quadrants.
Say the word, Biran. What's the last one?
Men, women, minorities, and kids.
Oh, okay. I thought you were trying to cover for something.
No, I couldn't think, for some reason, I couldn't think what the 4th quadrant was. But you make it for all 4 of those and don't denigrate any of the other quadrants. That's what Marvel's great at.
I totally agree. I mean, it's everyone's got someone that they like in all these movies.
Mm-hmm.
Usually it's a lot of people.
Guardians is the team that I love every character in it. I can't say that necessarily about Avengers, but I can say that about Guardians.
You mean like that group, not everyone in the movie?
Every member of the Guardians I love.
Yeah, I agree. They're awesome. And we got to see Groot take a different form as well.
Yeah. We got to see Groot as Alex.
Yeah, so another one
Spider-Man
got
Groot,
mad about a mouthy teenager. Anything else on this one? Should we move on?
Let's go on.
Okay.
Next one is Captain America: Civil War.
Okay. I had that right in the middle, I think. Maybe a little
above the middle at 10. Mike brought it down the most with the lowest at 16.
Yeah.
I had it at 7. I'm not sure why I had it that high, but I think the airport battle scene made it for me.
There's a lot of,
that was just
wait,
dumb.
Mike, you didn't like actually seeing them fight each other on screen, just regardless of where it was.
No.
No?
It was dumb.
Oh man.
It wasn't as dumb as the first Avengers movie, but it was dumb.
So this, when you watch Captain America: Civil War, which is essentially Avengers: Civil War, but that's kind of, you get to a small taste of how it was presented in the comics because that crossed over a lot of different books. But you have the which side are you on? Do you think we should the moral side of let us do our thing, we know what's right, or no, we need to be police because look what happened. Ultron got out of control. A lot of shit happened. You have Baron Zemo as the main villainous one, which, by the way, he reminded me of Don Roach. Is that just me?
He kind of looks a little bit like
I don't know why. I don't know.
He does look a little bit like him, yes.
Don Roach isn't a villain. He's probably a good guy. I don't know. Probably a good guy, but he looked like him. We got to see some cool shit in this movie, Mike. So maybe I'm not trying to change your mind, but you get to see Spider-Man debut in the MCU, not in his own movie. and I thought that was fucking cool.
Yeah, I agree.
He's like, oh, you're Iron Man, and he's fanboying out. Black Panther debuts without a movie. We knew we were going to get one, but cool to see him in there. Ant-Man gets introduced into, because Ant-Man came out before this, I believe. Yeah. But it introduced to the Avengers, and he's kind of fanboy. So you have that, you're the rock stars and we're the fans. Oh, we're in the band too. So you have that kind of style of it. You have War Machine, has some cool scenes in the fight. Winter Soldier goes into hiding at the end in Wakanda. A lot of stuff happens during this Civil War. At times it felt long, but that's because there's so much to cram in. It seemed like almost too much for one movie.
This was the one movie where I couldn't put like I read comics and I like the comic story. I couldn't put it away with this one because I was just disappointed because I loved the Civil War story in the comics. And then when I watched this movie, it's like you watered down so much and like zipped past stuff where it didn't really sink in how important some of these discussions were.
What I didn't like, and I know it was somewhat true to the comics, is they tried to kind of make Tony Stark the bad guy a little bit. And
I liked it more in the comics where it was just like different, almost like different political opinions.
Well, it was very much like gun control in a comic book form. That's how I always read it, as a gun control type thing, but it also doesn't say which side is right, which I appreciated.
Yeah, there's also in the comics, and again, I don't want to tie too much of that, but I mean, you expand a lot of different books. It wasn't just its own series, so it was part of certain character storylines. So I don't know how else you do it in a movie.
I like that they made it clear it was basically Captain America versus Iron Man, which I remember was kind of the main thing in the comic too.
Yeah.
It was, but it took so much longer to get there. And so there were so many important things along the way that I think were just left out because we were in such a hurry in the movie to get to Captain America versus Iron Man.
Yeah.
And they never really showed who would win in a fight, did they? Because Winter Soldier was in the mix.
Well, it was all very much what side are you on? They tried, as the movie progressed, to try to get more in the morality of it all.
I enjoyed the Hawkeye versus Black Widow, where they were kind of play fighting. We're still friends, right? Depends how hard you hit me. And they're just kind of going, they're sparring.
They're not just friends.
Do you think
there was still something?
Yeah,
there's still something. There has to be. A lot of stuff though happens in this one, so it's just kind of how it was handled. But again, if we're on a straight up movie basis, I still enjoyed it. It's just not going to be in the top.
It didn't sit well with me, the whole Winter Soldier thing. How many people died just so Captain America could have his friend? I mean,
not enough.
That just, I everything about the Winter Soldier Bucky character, I hate. So
at what point do you give up on him, Mike?
When he kills people.
And now you say he's done?
He's a murderer.
But
and I don't care if he's mind controlled or not. He is a liability.
He was a murderer.
But if you let him go, he never become friends with.
He went into the UN or whatever and killed.
He was bad then.
Wait, wasn't it actually not him though? They made it look like it was him.
No.
You mean in like when they showed like
the bombing that killed the King of Wakanda? They
were trying to. Did they pin it on Zemo though? Anyway.
No, they tried to pin it on Winter Soldier to get. And then that's when that's how they tried to get everyone to turn against.
Yeah, they said, look what happened here. Yeah.
Yeah. Because they were trying to sign the Sokovia Accords or whatever.
Yeah.
Which I want to get all into is like, hey, this world government has no right over here. Oh, America.
So all I know is I ain't signing the papers if it was me.
No. From my cold dead hands. It was too long. I agree.
Yeah. It was long.
I disagree with most of what Captain America was saying, so it was just irritating.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
But I've realized I kind of hate Captain America as a character. I always knew that, but
how is it that the only true communist on this group is the only one that loves America?
What a strange twist.
Yeah.
I mean, a couple guys are wearing red though. Just saying.
Yeah.
Should we move on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next up is Thor, the OG.
Original Thor. So you have your.
I really did throw a wrench in these rankings, didn't I?
Yeah.
No, yeah, Biran.
Well, this was
Where-
predicted,
where-
you know.
Mike ranked it 7th.
Yeah.
He was the highest. JP was the lowest, and me and Xtreme were pretty close.
You know, I mean, I like Thor, but this is a very much a fish out of water story.
Which I always like. It's why I like Lost in Translation, the movie Lost in Translation, so much.
Oh.
Mr. Baseball, I also love because I love fish out of water stories.
What was the second one? What?
Mr. Baseball.
Baseball.
Is that the Tom Selleck movie?
Yes.
Or was it the Bernie Mac one?
No, that's Mr. 3000.
Yeah.
Or was it the Jim Belushi one? They all had a baseball movie, didn't they?
Angels in the Outfield.
So yeah, you have the first Thor movie. You got to start somewhere, I guess, and it tells people, you know, what Asgard is, and he's on Earth, and what it gives you enough to go off of. So I'm happy that Thor Ragnarok was the result of a couple. You have to have a Thor movie to get to that point.
Like it started like this, and then Thor 2, and then Ragnarok.
Yeah, I mean, the cool thing about a lot of these, I guess this is part of the phase 1. I guess it's the first group. I think it's still Loki's like the bad guy in everything. I thought that was kind of cool that they carry over. He's not just the bad guy in Asgard. He's the bad guy everywhere, over and over again. Even when you're not sure, he still is. So people got introduced. I think this was his first his introduction, right?
Yeah.
And Thor, obviously, both of them. So first glimpse of the Tesseract that was not shown before. It gives people a lot of just a peek into what's to come, I think.
I enjoy the deep cut of the Warrior 3. Warrior 3 being in there. That's what I really like that.
It's not really a deep cut.
We talk about Iron Man being not for normies every show.
That's true, yeah.
Warrior 3.
He being the Thor fan. And
Yeah.
There's a lot of cool stuff for fans in there, I would agree. That they, reference, they just gave enough. A little bit of a little something.
I really enjoyed the introduction of Heimdall. I thought he was great. It's Idris Elba, right?
Yes.
Yep. It kind of set up how the cosmic universe is set up. The kind of the aesthetic was kind of established with Thor.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh yeah, this was the first cosmic movie, right?
Yeah.
I like when he has coffee, he slams it down. Another. I meant no disrespect.
Yeah, I need sustenance.
Yeah.
It's hard. Like with a lot of these ones, I really did enjoy it. I didn't want to rank it where I did, but it's hard to. You got to make this tough decisions. I really enjoyed it. Though. It was fun.
A lot of good Kat Denning is my favorite.
If you like that sort of thing. I do enjoy.
You called it Meow Meow instead of.
I think I forgot the name of it.
For the ladies, that scene where it's raining and Thor, he picks the hammer up. Yeah.
Not just the ladies.
Oh yeah. Oh, believe me, I know.
Biran, did you enjoy the Meow Meows though?
I did enjoy the Meow Meow. Anytime you get a Skarsgård in a movie is good.
Yeah.
He did a great job, I think, because he was in like 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah.
I think he was in
he was in Avengers. He was in.
Yeah,
he's in Thor 2.
He's one of those characters that becomes very integral to moving things forward. So. Anything else on this one, Mike? Anything?
I mean, I really wonder. Watching these again, I'm looking for how much of the story of tying the Tesseract and all of that into did they have established from day one, and how much was kind of retconned? I think the Tesseract was retconned. Yeah, because it was. Yeah, it's so early on in the movies that I think it was.
Yeah, it's really weird. You have 6 Infinity Stones, and the only 2 of them are sort of handled throughout the beginning, but then everything else is gone. By the way, for anyone watching at home, all the and then you have to like get everyone up to speed.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That might have been kind of we don't know what to do with this, because if I remember, they didn't like in the first Captain America, they weren't saying what it was, right?
No, they just said it was the Tesseract. Yeah.
They did not
Which-
say it was the power.
That bothered me that they didn't call it the Cosmic Cube, because that was in the 70s. That was the MacGuffin in all of Marvel stuff.
Yeah, I thought that was a little weird. I was okay with it because I knew it was going to be part of, but it was just you're right, the Cosmic Cube, which makes essentially your will is your command.
Yeah.
You can do things.
They turned into an ice ray.
Yeah, they didn't call it that. So once I realized they changed the name, I kind of knew they weren't going to do that.
Because in Avengers, they call it the Cube a lot.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if maybe that was just, they were just referencing it. Yeah, because I noticed that when I watched Avengers over the weekend, was they call it the Cube a lot, but you know.
And I'm surprised because, did they not call it the Tesseract in Thor?
I don't remember what they called it in Thor.
Yeah, and I just watched bits and pieces of it the other day.
It said we have our first glimpse of it, but I don't know if it.
It's because it was in Loki's. It wasn't.
That wasn't on his scepter though.
No, that's a different gem.
That was maybe Reality Stone or something, but
No, that was the Space Gem.
The Soul Stone is the one in Vision's head, right?
Yeah.
I thought Loki's scepter didn't have the Mind Stone. Oh, later on it did, maybe. Didn't it?
No, the scepter was different. They used the Tesseract to power the gateway, right? In Avengers, the first one.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought his staff had a different gem in it later on, but I could be wrong.
Because that's at the end of Thor. They have his staff.
Or is that Odin's spear that he has?
No, it's at the bumper at the end of.
You're talking about like in Infinity War, right?
No. It's at the very end of like the scene at the end of Thor. Don't they have his Loki staff? And
yeah. So Thor only
sets up Avengers.
They only dealt with the Tesseract or Power Stone exclusively for the first phase of the movies.
Because he used the staff to steal the Tesseract. That's what he used to turn Hawkeye and Dr.
Yeah, but
Velvet.
because he stole the Tesseract and put it in the staff, didn't he?
I thought the
I know
staff was
people are
giving him
watching this going, you guys are dumbasses, but
comment down below how dumb we are, but
yeah, watch the fucking movies again.
Didn't the Chitauri give him the staff?
Thanos gave him the staff, didn't he?
Right, well, that's his army, is the Chitauri.
Right, it's to go and find the stones.
Who knows? Doesn't matter.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, no, yeah, okay, yeah.
Next, Biran.
The next is Black Panther.
Oh, jeez.
Where did everybody fall on this, Biran?
I ranked it 14th. You ranked it 8. Mike ranked it 3. Xtreme ranked it 21st.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know you didn't like it. Screen.
It was a good movie, but I didn't see what all the hype was. I was a little bored at times.
I was disappointed mainly because they cheaped out on it. One of the biggest fight scenes early on was shot in the dark, which is always a cop-out when you don't want to spend too much money on your CGI.
You mean his fight with Killmonger?
No, the chase in the cars and stuff.
Yeah, I guess. I actually I enjoyed it. I didn't even think of.
I also didn't buy the big guy that challenged him in the beginning as a vegetarian.
The Jabari tribe.
Yeah,
I think it was so much fun.
Are vegetarians.
The build of the guy did not suggest vegetarian to me.
Okay.
So
the rumor is it's going to be both him and Shuri are going to be the next Black Panthers together.
His sister.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shuri was one of my favorite characters in it. I thought his love interest girlfriend was the most bland, because you had Michonne, right?
Yeah.
And you had Shuri, and then you had his girlfriend, and she was the most lame.
Yeah, Okoye was awesome. Michonne was great.
Yeah,
so Biran, that guy's body is what took you out of the element, just so I'm clear?
Yep.
Okay. Like all this other shit going around, and you're like, his body doesn't match up to what
he's too big to only eat vegetables.
That took you out of the moment.
Yes. One of my favorite villains, if not my favorite villain, Killmonger, because you could see his point.
Yeah.
Killmonger, I have my, I call them my dishonorable mentions.
Yeah.
And besides Loki, Killmonger's right up there, though. I thought he was great.
I thought he looked great in the Black Panther costume that had more of a Jaguar theme to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Old one. Yeah.
I really enjoyed the kind of shopping for suits, essentially, when you're seeing what you can do
Right.
with them. It was just a lot of fun. And
He wasn't evil. He was not outright evil. He just had a different point of view.
He just was in a bad situation.
Yeah.
Xtreme, your point earlier about representation. I mean, at a certain point, this is just pretty awesome to have that level of blockbuster for this. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And I saw it firsthand. I saw some young African-American kids that were super excited about it, and I was excited for their excitement. And I'm glad that these kind of movies exist because I saw how excited they were. It's like they deserve to be that excited about a superhero movie too, like everybody does. So I'm glad that there's something for everybody.
I think Disney, if Disney put more money behind it, I think they weren't confident enough and they cheaped out on it.
I was so happy. Like you said, I was happy for them, but I was actually happy that it was good as well. Like
it wasn't token. Yeah.
Right. I don't want just to have it. I was glad that it broke record. I mean, whatever. I mean, I don't know if I think this is a situation where every movie that came out eclipsed the last one box office or whatever. That's what it felt
Black
like.
Panther did amazing. It had long legs too.
Yeah.
But I thought everything around it was great. I thought the visualization of Wakanda was awesome.
Yeah.
They handled that well. They handled the whole idea of we have the tech and the knowledge, but it's like this, we don't talk about it. I like that this was the, when should we open it up to the world and how should we do it? You have Killmonger's way, then you have the nicer way. And then Chadwick Boseman, wasn't he sick during filming of this?
Well, I think he was in remission, but yeah, he was. He had cancer then, but isn't it so weird that he was so good as Black Panther that when I saw an interview with him with his regular voice, I'm like, what?
Did you not? Because I forgot what I saw him in. So I knew it, but you're right. When you see somebody that you only know, like the first time I ever heard Christian Bale in an interview.
You're like, what?
Years ago, I'm like, all I knew was American Psycho, and you're British?
Well, for me, it was House. Hugh Laurie's House.
House.
Because his accent was so good. Well, that's the thing. It didn't take me out of it at all.
To a lot of people, their first delve into vibranium
aside from Cap Shield, yeah,
in the universe, that gave people some of that lore, if you will.
What was the great line from Ultron? The greatest material on Earth, and you people make a frisbee.
Now, can adamantium break through vibranium?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It can, but it doesn't exist in the MCU because X-Men have that.
And if it did exist, Magneto could actually do something against it too, I believe. Hasn't he?
Well, that's the whole thing.
Doesn't it have to be a ferrous metal for Magneto? If it's Magneto, it's got to be ferrous.
Because Magneto ripped the adamantium right out of Wolverine,
and there ain't no iron in adamantium.
No, but they it's common.
All metal.
Captain America's shield had magnets in it in the 60s. So, it...
How do they work?
Yeah.
What?
I'm new to magnets as well.
And that's how it comes back to them.
Yeah.
The other thing I love about Spider-Man is I don't understand how you get the shield to come back to you. It's breaking the laws of physics.
Oh, yeah, because he said that when he threw it.
Yeah.
He threw a shield, right? Yeah. End of the movie, we see Bucky Barnes reemerges.
They should have made it for some reason when I saw it because he had the arm taken off.
Yeah,
just kept thinking Def Leppard. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Is this where you say the joke? What has nine arms and sucks balls? Def Leppard. It's not very nice, Biran. I wouldn't have went there unless you did it first.
It is the worst concert I've ever seen, though.
Okay.
Def Leppard in the 80s.
And that's allegedly when it would have been a great concert.
That was the concert that they had in the round, and there was the hour intermission where they had. Did you ever see that behind music where they had all the people, all the groupies come under the stage and blow all the guys?
No. an hour intermission. Was it run by the guy in Ohio who does Kings of War?
It was, yeah, I was
No,
going to go there
the
as
lead
well.
singer and the one-armed drummer came out. Meanwhile, and we were watching, because I was low enough, we were watching all the security people bring all these women. The stage had like 4 like stairwells that went under it, and they kept bringing all these women underneath it. And we're like, oh, we know what they're doing, and they were
making
For
sandwiches.
what, Mike? For what? For autographs?
You're gonna have to edit that, but yeah.
Yeah.
We can't edit anymore.
No.
All right. In that case.
And so I take it you didn't get backstage either, or under.
No, I did not.
Okay.
They had an awesome laser show, but it was
Yeah.
it was really long.
Biran, next movie.
Next movie, Doctor Strange.
Okay.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
Where did we fall on this one? Was there a big discrepancy?
Let's see. I had it the highest. I had it number 4. I
Okay.
really like that movie. Extreme had it slightly below half.
I had it below
You
half
had
as
it
well.
slightly below half, and Mike had it 11.
11.
So, are you guys big comic Doctor Strange fans? Are you happy? If you are you happy with?
I read it a little bit, not much. It was more of like there's nothing that I normally read this week that came out, so I would get Doctor Strange. I thought it felt like he was doing Tony Stark a little bit too much, but I like that.
The arrogant thing?
Yeah. I actually liked what's her face as the ancient one. Tilda
Yeah.
Tilda
Swinton?
Tilda Swinton. Yep.
Yeah, she was good. She was good, especially in Endgame. She was
Yes.
great.
Yeah. It's the one I can rewatch and leave on in the background and just pick my head up for the scenes I really like. The special effects were my favorite. Very Inception.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people watching the Doctor Strange movie, you needed to somehow get it because this came out much later. I think this is like one of the.
Mhm.
You had to get something across. This guy's powerful.
Yes.
You had to tell people right off the bat, and that's a hard thing to do. To introduce somebody. I mean, they tried with Captain Marvel too. You have 2 very powerful characters that were very integral to Endgame, and then you still have to tell people who they are and go through he was a surgeon, but he did it because he was fucking arrogant. It's like, I won't even operate on you if you're not sick enough. And they had to cram a lot of shit into that movie.
I appreciate it because it had a montage scene. I always like a training montage scene in my superhero movies.
Where he's learning the craft.
Yep, because he has a photographic memory and he's getting all the books.
Wong as a side character, any good?
Not top tier, but still good.
I wanted to make him one of my side guys, and he ain't a side guy for me.
He's no Michael Pena.
No, he's not.
He's no Rooker.
I think my pick for side guy when we get to it. Well, you may agree.
I like that they made the Cloak of Levitation kind of into a character. That was kind of fun.
They did some. Well, okay. So on the topic of special effects, outside of Ant-Man, this was number 1. In fact, if I would put it those 2, number 1 as far as when you watch it, like how else do you show the audience like what you're supposed to see when things? I mean, when essentially reality is bending before your eyes. I just thought they did a phenomenal job and a great like a theater watching experience for this movie.
And I really like the guy from the Hannibal Lecter TV series. What's his name? Mads Mikkelsen.
Oh yeah, he's got awesome. A villain face if I ever saw one.
He was one of my favorite villains, and he was great. And it was also the movie with the giant CGI monster that I actually thought was still engaging, Dormammu.
Yeah, it was. Well, he just did a great job. If you're looking at villains, I thought he did pretty well.
Yeah, and I like how he outsmarted him. I liked how he tricked him with the time gem. I thought that was fantastic.
I was actually hoping Xtreme was going to do like a Doctor Strange thing with his goatee.
You almost need a template for that, don't you?
Like a stencil?
Yeah.
You got to put a spray over it. Yeah, I mean, I was actually kind of surprised that they did the whole look because of how they were trying to make things movie-ish and not comic-ish. But they still made him look way over the top.
Yes. And he out Tony Starked as far as facial hair.
Yeah, he did.
Like almost gay level of craftsmanship on the facial hair, I would say.
I guess you can say that.
Yeah.
I think as a movie, I liked him better in Infinity War and Endgame than I did him in the movie. But you have to do a in-depth backstory for.
Well, you could get away with no origin for the new Spider-Man because everyone knows it, but you can't with Doctor Strange.
Yeah. So it was. I mean, it took a long time.
That was another one. I was like, you're not going to do a Doctor Strange movie. That's bananas.
I was surprised too. I didn't think they were going to do it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. So it was fun to watch. It's not one that's going to be a rewatching one for me, probably ever though.
But I agree. I did like him more in the Avengers. I like when he was fucking around with Loki. Just had him falling the whole time.
Yeah, he just because he can show off how good he is at just everything.
Like Loki's like out magicked by a human.
Yeah. How much time took place in the training montage, by the way? Because I remember watching it, and it was like, how long do you have to do this to get it?
There is that you have to do something a certain number of times to become a master at it.
Like 5 years? Like I didn't know. I was trying to figure out in my head, like what? Like how long? Because he went from I'm hitting myself with things to master in 15 minutes.
Well, he was still awkward a little bit when he was first fought Mads Mikkelsen. But also he can instantly recall anything he's ever read. So that's got to help.
And do they have access to the time stone then?
He did, yeah. He was because he was.
So time for time for training is I don't know.
Did he know how to use the Eye of Agamotto?
Yeah, because he did it with the apple. Remember?
So yeah, that was that's another one where they had to sneak in an Infinity Gem. And so, did they start pushing the idea? I don't remember if it was this movie or not of keeping them all separate, like way.
Yes.
Like almost.
Yeah, because that's because Wong explained it and it said then. Yeah. They were scattered or whatever. Yeah.
Like
that was where they really.
Separate. They're kind of hidden, but plain sight hidden, but also hidden, and they're telling the audience that's important.
We have to hide these in the universe, but we're going to put 3 of them on Earth, and
they're all going to be
muddy
in
world, as Thanos called it, the sad muddy world. I'm like, to be fair, Thanos, you landed in New Jersey, so because what isn't Avengers headquarters too in New Jersey?
I think it was upstate New York.
Oh,
wasn't it? Oh, we'll call it Albany. I don't know.
The parts of New York where they still fly Confederate flags.
It's it's like it's not Schaumburg. It's
Naperville,
Gray's Lake. No, it's up north where it's kind of like the South, but it's up north.
Yeah.
Wisconsin.
All right. Next, Biran?
Next is the OG Ant-Man.
Yeah, Ant-Man. Where did we have that? I think
Mike had it 18th.
Yeah.
You had it literally right in the middle, JP. Brian had it all the way at 5. And I had 11. You and I were close, JP. And then you got Mike, and then you got...
Xtreme, why don't you kick this discussion off since you had the highest?
I went into that movie with no expectations. I thought I was going to hate it. And it was just really fun. And I laughed a lot. And I had a good time. So, I don't know. It is... We'll get to the biggest surprise for me movie-wise, but this was right behind it, and that I had no expectations at all. I totally expected not to like it, and I really did.
Were you hoping it was going to be the story of Hank Pym beating his wife, or?
No, I wasn't hoping that. That's what I went in expecting.
I had no idea that the route they were going to take with it, with kind of ushering in the next Ant-Man as our Ant-Man. I didn't know that was the take on it initially. So.
No, I totally thought it was Hank Pym Ant-Man.
It was a delight. It was the suit where he's working at Baskin Robbins and gets fired for lying about being a felon. Yeah. You could steal a Sunday.
I won't say anything if you take an extra scoop on the way out or something. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, that his friends breaking into the safe. There's just so many fun things. Could anybody but Paul Rudd at this point now, could you look back and say, who else could do that? And I don't even know who could. Because it was like, now we know him as that, but like, it wasn't this movie when he got big, but the idea of like the figuring things out, like, sorry, hey, we let Paul Rudd slide on everything. He fumbles through everything. It's great.
it was funny because he points out, because he went to jail, he was doing like kind of a Robin Hood thing, anti-corporate Robin Hood. That's how he got busted initially, I think. And he makes a point, like when he gets out of jail, is like, I have a degree in electrical engineering. I won't have a problem finding a job. Electrical engineering is not an easy degree to get, but they make him out to be kind of a buffoon that just kind of gets lucky a lot.
He seemed to get smart later on, though, in the Infinity War and
like he figured out that the secret was,
like, did you do a lot of reading in the quantum realm?
Yeah.
If you're in there for a while, what else are you going to do? He got real smart after that, though.
Yeah.
I think it's intentional. I don't know. I think.
Well, he's supposed to be. He's an electrical engineer by training. You can't be an idiot and be an electrical engineer.
But he was dopey at the beginning. It seemed like he just became like, are you a scientist now? I mean, you're talking like one, which is great because you kind of needed that.
Ant-Man helped me get over the fact that the science is not right in any of these movies. Because they mentioned, like, even though you're shrunk, you're just as heavy and strong as you were at full size, but then he's got a keychain with a Sherman tank on it. By their own rules, that Sherman tank should weigh as much as a Sherman tank.
Yeah.
But
and by that same rule, when he gets bigger, he should be weak.
Yes. He shouldn't even be able to hold himself up.
He doesn't do a lot when he's big, though. Like, he doesn't kick a lot of ass. He just takes.
He punched the giant in Endgame. He did the on the monster.
He did actually. Yeah, I was trying to think. It seemed like he was taking a beating when he was big, but
he was also under the Avengers compound and just emerged up. And
why not be big? Why not be big all the time?
It's exhausting. They make that point out in the second.
Yeah, because they can only be. Because remember when he and Goliath are doing the
yard measuring.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because they're like 25 feet. Like, whoa, that's penis measuring, which is always fun. I think it was a fun movie. I think a lot of people didn't know what to expect, and having America's Darling play the lead role, it was great. Like I said, these special effects made me itchy. I don't like ants. I don't like bugs, so that was hard to get over. When I saw it in the theater, it was like when you watch some Pixar movies, it's almost like overload. It's made for kids, and not made for kids, but like that amount of stuff going on, it was like, I need a
I'm too old for this.
Yeah, I need someone walking on the street. I need the Baskin Robbins scene now because there's too much like.
You need to calm down. Yeah.
I actually liked it way better when I rewatched it on TV than I did in the theater, which is usually rare. Because usually
I'm the other way. I always like watching it at home better.
I usually walk out of the movies happy because I had a good experience. It's when I rewatch it that I get the real take. And this one, I liked it way better on second watching. So, anything else on Ant-Man we should cover?
Great Zach Galifianakis interview with Paul Rudd. That's one of the best ones he's ever done on Between Two Ferns.
Was as Ant-Man on there?
No, he was as Paul Rudd, but it was after Ant-Man. And then Zach Galifianakis said, do you find it hard to convince people that you're not Jewish?
Like, are you hiding that?
Yeah.
All right, Biran, what's next?
Next one is Spider-Man Homecoming.
Okay. Probably not going to talk too much on it because we covered a lot of Spider-Man in general. But once again, I dug that we just jumped right in because we already saw him pop up in Civil War. And we're like, okay. And we get right to it. He's in high school. He's got his friend. He's got his stuff. He's got a hot aunt. All the things are there. Where did we all fall on this one? I'm curious, Biran.
I had it 9th. Xtreme had it 13th. You had it 13th as well. And Mike had it 4th.
Yeah.
Ooh. Mike, tell me why it's 4th.
I just had a hell of a lot of fun with this movie. I liked pretty much everything about it. So
I have the Iron Man suit from this movie.
I also, one of the biggest arguments I've got with a friend of mine he's the one I was talking about before that's huge into comics in the 70s, but gets angry when the movies don't. But he hasn't read a comic book since like 85. So, he was angry about like Captain America's boots don't have the little flare that comes down. And he was angry that Bucky was an adult. As opposed to being a 14-year-old fighting Nazis.
Well,
but anyways.
Yeah, Bucky is a Robin character, so.
Yeah. He was furious that they made Marissa Tomei Aunt May because Aunt May is supposed to be older. But I'm like, dude, think about this. How many 15-year-olds
Have an 85-year-old aunt.
80.
Plus,
You just don't do that.
well, not only that, but at a certain point, you got to look in the mirror and say, I am old. And when you see things that are supposed to be, you're right, he expected old, but how old is Marissa Tomei? 55?
Yeah, she was age appropriate.
Right. That's what I'm saying. At a certain point, you're like, oh man, just be old. Oh shit, we're all fucking old.
Well,
How
yeah,
great
and-
is
and,
it
you
that
know,
all the men that in Peter's life, the male figures, are always creeping on his aunt, like in front of him.
Yeah.
well,
That's realistic though.
Yeah,
That
it
was
is
the one
realistic.
moment
Yeah.
This is real.
one of my favorite villains. Favorite
that?
villain. Favorite
Michael
villain.
Keaton.
Oh yeah,
Michael-
yeah, amazing.
And they
yeah, he
didn't
was,
kill him. Very importantly.
Yes.
So great scene. He's driving Peter and his date, it's his daughter, to prom, and there's the whole like he's talking to him. Michael Keaton. Like I don't think I knew he was in this movie until I saw it because I don't really pay attention. So when I saw him, I was happy. I was like I don't usually I don't really care about previews that much. So I like to go in fresh, and I'm like, oh fuck yeah. When I saw him like working with the guys. Because I knew, like, oh, this is gonna be great.
He's one of those people that he's a treasure. He's an American treasure.
He is a fucking treasure, and I'm happy.
Mr. Mom.
I'm happy to see he jumped shit to the right side of comic books too.
Yeah.
Other stuff in there. I mean,
The scene where Iron Man saves the day with his little drones that seal up the ship.
So Iron Man as the father figure is really fun. That
Yeah.
take on things because that really helped everything that came after it with him and Peter, especially with the Infinity War stuff.
Yeah.
So great.
I did like the
relationship.
scene where, like it's true, where Spider-Man knew he had super strength, but he didn't know how much he had, and he was able to lift that entire like air conditioning unit because Spider-Man is super strong.
Yeah. It's well, I mean, he's always conflicted though with everything. He doesn't know his role and stuff. This one, I mean, it's what do I do? I like this girl, but all the.
I had a theory that and we'll get to Infinity War in a second, but I like how they introduced the Spider Sense more in that movie. They didn't really bring it up much in this movie, the Spider Sense.
Well, they made the joke out of it. The Peter Tingle, they did.
Yeah.
So they didn't really. It was more of a to let you know we're going to address it. I don't know.
But I always had a theory that when he dusted or whatever, that it took him longer because he's so powerful. Like Spider-Man is way more powerful than we've even been led on to.
So you're saying that's why it was like
it took longer for him to go away.
It was like slow motion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
That's
like
my theory.
But I mean, if you look at other characters, did that still apply or no?
He was the longest one I remember, like it being drawn out.
I thought he had the will to hang on.
Yeah, because he loved Iron Man so much.
Yeah. He's like, be my new dad.
Yeah.
Anything else on this one? Or should we move on?
We can move on.
Okay.
Next up is the original Avengers.
Ugh.
Mike thinks this is pretty high, I bet.
No.
Mike had it. Mike brought it down.
I mean, Mike, you think it's high, like as in
Yeah. And
It's
this is
ranked
the one.
higher.
This is the one movie I watched again that I would rank much lower than I initially ranked it. Because when I saw it again, I'm like, this is garbage.
Where did we have it, Biran?
I had it ranked number 8. Xtreme had it number 3.
Ooh,
You had it at 9, and Mike had it 17.
17.
Okay. Xtreme 3. Care to discuss?
I just remember that at the time, that was the first time that we saw everything coming together in the theater, and I thought that was super cool.
Agree,
But not really.
100%. It's one that, talking about rewatching, because I did rewatch them all, this is the opposite of Ant-Man. I liked it better in the theater than I did second time. But I still don't want to miss out on that experience of, this was the first ensemble movie with everybody, including Black Widow and Hawkeye, even though she popped up in Iron Man, one of them. But this, and we got to see first Mark Ruffalo, Bruce Banner, right? First time
Yep.
with that. So it was we need a story. We're in New York. We got to stop this thing from happening. And it like had all the elements of what a movie should be. It's not my favorite, but it was a great experience watching it. So I don't want to ever knock it.
Scenes I loved in it was Black Widow's interrogation of Loki. Like Loki thinks he has her, like in his grasp, and he's like, "Your ledger is red," and blah blah blah. And then she's like, "Oh, Avengers Tower. That's how you get it. Thanks, Loki." And he's like, "God damn it, she tricked me."
Stupid Earthling. How does she do it?
Because she's smoking.
Yeah.
It also had Bruce Banner. And Bruce Banner
ahead.
was actually as smart as I envisioned him being. That's
Yeah,
where
he was
most competent.
Yeah.
And also the Hulk seemed the most powerful in that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got seeing things come to life on the screen. Like you said, Hulk was really powerful in that one compared to later on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and this too, like this was the big battle in the city that was referenced in all of the Netflix series as well, right?
Yeah.
So
And also where Vulture got his gear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's like
you got it from the garbage people, right?
Yeah.
He lost the contract to Stark Enterprises to clean up.
Hey, I just love that they actually addressed what happens to the other stuff.
Yeah.
Like speaking from, I would probably be poking around too, trying to find something cool. You never know.
Yeah, in the Spider-Man, did they call it? Because they had a whole comic about that called Damage Control.
Yeah, that was the company, right?
Yeah. Was that?
I don't remember if they called his company. I think he just said it's.
But that's basically what they were doing. So yeah.
Yeah.
And was it the Tinkerer, or who was the guy that came up with all the gadgets? Because he was.
Oh, in his group, you mean?
Yeah, it was like the nerdy guy who actually came up with he reverse engineered all this technology.
Yeah, I forgot.
For use.
You mean in Spider-Man?
Yeah, but he's a real villain in Marvel, I think. Like
there's
or something.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, they didn't really. Yeah, they kind of threw because wasn't one of the other one? And again, we've already passed.
Shocker.
Spider-Man, but
Yeah, Shocker's in.
Shocker was there too. Yeah. So. Anyway.
Or is it Scorpion? It was in the prison, I think.
That was Shocker. He had like a fist, right?
Yeah, Shocker.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone with the fist, I'm Shocker, Iron Fist. I just like fists.
I like that Tony Stark was hacking the thing, and Captain America just went digging through the storage closet and found the same information. Hydra weaponry.
Well, the great thing about that movie, it was almost like it played like when you see a crossover thing of all your favorite people, because you got to see their interaction with each other. You got to see Tony Stark being who he is at the S.H.I.E.L.D. hangout. That man is playing Galaga.
You thought no one would notice.
Right. You got to see people do their thing. You get to see Captain America make speeches. You get to see everybody do their thing all together. It was just a great culmination of that, and consistently referenced in other movies too. Remember
also,
the
first hint at Thor being funny was in that movie because never care how you speak. He is a son of Asgard. He killed 89 people. He's adopted.
Yeah, he was funny in the first Thor, but not like that.
Yeah.
Not
or when
like,
he and Hulk were fighting side by side, and then they're done fighting, and Hulk just goes and sends them
were they
flying.
arguing who the strongest Avenger was in that one too?
No, you're thinking of Ragnarok where he goes the strongest Avenger. No, it was Hulk just sitting next to
that
Thor.
was the first Point Break reference too. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you throw a mean swing, Point Break.
Yeah.
But why this movie bothered me so much, the action in the middle is all because they're on the helicarrier and the helicarrier is going to crash.
Yeah.
And there was absolutely no reason to be on the helicarrier. It was a made-up crisis because why
the
were they
helicarrier seems like an incredibly bad idea.
Yeah, it's a really bad idea when a guy with a bow can take down this thing.
And even Bruce Banner comments on it. He's like, "You're flying this thing, and you have me on board." Yeah.
I still want to ride on it though.
Well, yeah, and I appreciate the reference because that is a real thing, but it was just that whole it was a crisis that was made so you could have a crisis.
Yeah.
And Loki's whole plan of getting captured to get them to sow the dissent for a group that doesn't exist yet. It was.
And did they hint that it was the Gem, the staff that was doing it too, or?
As far as because that was all before they tied in any of the Infinity Stones, I believe.
Yeah, it was.
Sure,
and the Chthonians, whatever they are, Qatari.
Chitauri.
I don't know why they saw the need to make a new race that we had never seen before.
They kept them so bland that you didn't even care, though. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
They had the mouth of predators, though.
I think on purpose they said, let's just pick like the most generic looking sci-fi creature.
But again, they had this whole swath of Marvel Universe to pick from, and they make something kind of bland that is referenced later on in.
Well, because they later say that was Thanos' army. Yeah.
And that I think it was in one of the Avengers, the other ones. But again, it was an odd choice. Now, don't get me wrong, the big whaley things, those were cool.
That Hulk just one-punched?
Yeah.
That was awesome. And the line, the trick is, I'm always angry.
They still have the convoluted fight scenes to give the non-powered things some
relevance.
It's like, and there's a water beast, so Aquaman, go do it. Yeah.
That's you see all these like superpowered, and then you got Black Widow with 2 subcompact locks.
Yeah.
You know what? You go after who you can handle, right? The big guys go for big guys.
Square off against equally matched.
Right. That's how it goes. That's how it would go in any fight. That's what you want to see.
My favorite scene of all the MCU movies is in it when Hulk just takes Loki by the foot.
Oh yeah.
Oh, is that the one he went like back and forth on him? Yeah, that was awesome. I forgot about that.
And he's just sitting there.
So let's see. Notable events in this one. Avengers formally unite, so we see that. Post-credit scene reveals Loki's plan was actually from Thanos. So you start to get the taste of what's to come. That was a pretty big deal. I mean, let's keep in mind this came out in 2012. It's a pretty big deal seeing all this shit back then. I thought, to Xtreme's point about seeing it at that time. Loki gets captured, brought back to Asgard because he has other stuff to do. Anything else, or Biran, move on?
I think we can move on.
Can we take a break?
Yeah,
sure.
Can I pee?
That's perfect. We'll take a break right here.
What number are we on right now?
You want to call this the episode break?
Yes.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 7 to go. So if you want to see the next 7, you're gonna have to tune in.
Say it more convincing.
If you want, you can figure out.
Okay. There's no edits, so
if you're lasted this long, you might as well stick through to the end.
You mean next episode, or are we doing the same one?
Next episode.
We're gonna try to milk this shit.
Say bye.
All right. Oh yeah, bye.
Zlurpcast! Brought to you by Nuffles. Bet you can't just roll a 1.